This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I'm the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Listen, we're going to continue on our path as we are loving our nation. We've got our election coming up this year in 2026, and it is an important election. So there are a lot of dynamics going on. We're going to continue to pray for our nation, our fellow Americans. Our flag represents our country. We're going to pray for the cabinet, the executive branch of the government, President Trump, his cabinet, all of those in our nation. We want our nation to do well. You know, we've got the people living from paycheck to paycheck. They're on my heart strong. As these businesses come in and set up a shop here in our nation, there are some good paying jobs that people are going to be blessed with. So we've had an election. We've got new leadership. We're moving forward. There are a lot of dynamics, and it's going to heat up. And so tonight, we're going to examine some things that are affecting our nation, and it's going to generate a lot of discussion, and I'm going to push it, push it, push it. We're going to talk about the Trump accounts. Things are going to heat up, and Independence Day, July of this year, is going to be front and center. And this ties in with our clinical perspective, empowerment. Now, the stage has been set for an entirely other type of dynamic in our nation that sets our posterity, our children and our grandchildren up for massive success. It's never happened before in terms of what's been set up, and it's called the Trump accounts. And it's a new account for children. A new Trump-backed investment program is quietly arming millions of American children with capital and financial literacy instead of more government dependency. It empowers families for pathways that are life-changing and powerful. Let's go there to understand it. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, but in all thy getting, get understanding. Let's get understanding, because this is a game changer that we've never had in my time on this earth that I've seen, not this. We had a path that had been set up by LBJ, President Johnson, and the Democratic Party called the Great Society that rewarded government dependency, where you couldn't get help unless there was it couldn't be a man in the house. If you got help, you couldn't have a man in the house. The more babies you had, the more money you received as a single woman. For black families, we went from 82% of homes having both a man and a woman in the home in the 60s to now 70% of black babies that are born to single mothers. That's a setup for a welfare state and fostering a cradle-to-grave nanny state. Now, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. You've got that backdrop that's going on. And then through the Trump accounts and the Trump administration, there is a whole different dynamic that is a life-changing truth that's going to unfold this year, guys. Here's how it goes. Here's a story, a snapshot. It's a snapshot for success as we have turned this ship around in America. Now, there's this gentleman named Ray Dalio. He's donated $75 million to boost Trump accounts for roughly 300,000 children in Connecticut's lower income areas. The poverty rate is double for children in lower income areas. Just in that area, the poverty rate is double. Now, you all know about Dell Technologies. My computer right here is Dell. Michael and Susan Dale have already pledged $6.25 billion to help fund 25 million Trump accounts nationwide. First, they were just going to only focus on Texas, yet they expanded it to the entire nation for children who are 10 and under by gifting them $250 in seed money for Trump accounts. So you got the Trump accounts, and I'm going to explain how that's set up, but it's for children that are born in 2025 up to 2028. We're going to dissect that in a minute. But the Dales, Michael and Susan Dale, they said, wait a minute. We want to empower our nation at a whole other level as it relates to the stock market and Americans thriving and prospering. This is the kind of thing they do with their children, guys. But they want it for all of the children in America. So you got the dynamic of the Trump accounts, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. But the Dale said, wait a minute. That's just for newborns. The Trump accounts has been set up for newborns. We want to add a facet onto the Trump accounts where it's for children who are 10 and under. So they are going to give children that are 10 and under with $250 in seed money for them to have Trump accounts. It's aimed at children in zip codes with a median income of $150,000. The target group are children that are, like I said, 10 and under, who do not qualify for the federal $1,000. That's for the newborns. We'll get into the specifics of that. So the Dales want to give $250 seed money, gift this to children 10 and under to go on account and in a savings account. And it's going to be invested. We're going to dissect the specifics here in a minute. Who don't qualify for the federal $1,000 2025 or later, who were born in 2025 or later, birth year seed. That seed, if you were born in 2025, those babies born in 2025 or later, they get $1,000. The Dales is called the Invest America program. Invest America program. As that money grows in an account, it can only be accessed at the age of 18. So if a 10-year-old, you got to have a social security number. You apply, you get in, you're in this account. They get that $250 that's put in an account. And at the age of 18, they have access to it. It's a savings and investment account. Parents and families can make contributions up to $5,000 annually, which will be professionally managed. What does that mean, professionally managed? Just like my 401k is. Guys, my Roth IRA is currently yielding 14.5% a year. The average is 7%. That's amazing. That's thousands of dollars. Free money just by me investing in that account, and it's being managed. And so I had to choose what kind of, that I want a risky plan or conservative. I chose a conservative, something that's just steady, 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 steady. So when I retire, officially retire, I'll have that money. Guys, I have my 401k. I've got 3 different deals. This is not about me, but I'm just talking about professionally managed. That's the whole point I'm getting across there. So my accounts, my retirement accounts, are professionally managed. And the same is going to happen to our posterity. This is exciting. You men, y'all need to pay attention to this because y'all need to take the lead on this. Are you going to leave that money on the table, or are you going to be a blessing to your children? 10 and under. Yeah. The Trump administration, and they say if they're over 10, you still can get an account that you start putting in. No one's stopping you from doing that. But the Trump administration is giving these newborn babies $1,000 seed money, and the Dales are giving our children in the nation, all across the nation, that are 10 and under, $250. Guys, you just put that money in an account and you don't mess with it and you keep building on it. It's powerful. Now, let me show you how powerful this is. The Trump administration's big, beautiful bill seeds eligible newborns with $1,000 invested in index funds for 2025 through 2028 births. The ones born then. Treasury, listen to this, guys. This is a game changer. This blesses me beyond measure. It tells me the heart of our president. And the Dales and these people, they got wealth. They teach their children how to do that. They want to break this back poverty mentality off of our children that have been plagued with it. Treasury, listen to this, put your seatbelt on, put your seatbelt on. Treasury projections say untouched accounts, I don't touch my retirement account. I just put a steady amount in there for that Roth IRA. My son purchased that for $500. He said, Mom, I want to bless you with this before I go in the military and just put something. I just put $100 a month in there. I've put in probably $8,000 and the thing is over $15,000. You see the power of just putting it in there and leaving it alone? That's powerful. We have to teach our children to do the same and get out of this cradle to grave nanny state. Government dependent. Looking for a block of cheese and $1. God has a better way. And if you need it, we get it and we want to help you. Not our money going to fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts. I want to help Americans that need help, but we want to show you how to break poverty off of you and teach your children to do the same. Listen, I grew up in poverty. I grew up in it. But things are subject to change. Treasury projections for these babies say that untouched accounts could grow to nearly $1.9 million by the time they turn 28 years old. Guys, that is a game changer. Teaching real world capitalism from day one. Let me say this about capitalism. Do you know that the squad went to that Pan-American Congress last year over in Mexico? And over there they were saying that capitalism was a virus that needs to be destroyed. They need to be booted out of Capitol Hill. Right then, they should have been censored, everything else. But guys, listen, this is why we need leadership that gets it. They want to get rid of capitalism. Look what capitalism is going to. Capitalism, everybody's, the government's in control and there's no entrepreneurship. Capitalism, the opposite of capitalism is what happened in Venezuela. That's it. The opposite of capitalism is what happened in Venezuela. This right here, by age of 28, they're going to have $1.9 million. All you got to do is not touch it and just keep putting money in it. Keep putting money in it. $5,000 a year is the max that you can put in it. It's real world capitalism from day one that we teach our children. That is unprecedented in our nation. To set up our posterity to have $1.9 million by age 28 if the account continues to build. Let's dissect the Trump accounts. Capitalism, education, not classroom indoctrination. Did you hear me? We're talking about capitalism, education, and not classroom indoctrination. President Trump's big, beautiful bill created Trump accounts to give every eligible American newborn from 2025, if they were born between 2025 through 2028, a $1,000 stake in the market held in simple index funds and shielded from tax shielded with tax advantages. It's just shielded. Instead of another federal handout, the program gives families an ownership tool they can add to with private contributions allowed up to $5,000 a year and adjusted for inflation after 2027. The accounts are designed to grow with America's economy, not government bureaucracy. Treasury analysts estimate that if a Trump account is left untouched until age 28, the compounding returns of long-term stock market exposure could push its value close to $1.9 million. That kind of nest egg changes life decisions. Here, the specific life-changing decisions that they will be here are the specific life-changing situations and decisions. They can, when they turn 18, they can start a business, buy their first home, or spend it on furthering their education, be it college, trade school. They choose. Start a business, own a home, so they're real in real estate, or furthering their education. Or they can continue to just keep it in there. They can access it at 18 years old, or just keep making deposits in it. It's like starting an IRA early, and it's just shielded, and they just become wealthy. It's a game changer. It channels energy toward independence, not permanent reliance on politicized federal programs. Billionaires back this wealth-building vision that President Trump has for working families. And one of the world's most studied investors is putting $75 million behind his effort. That's the guy with Connecticut. He's funding $250 contributions for roughly 300,000 children in Connecticut communities where the median income falls below $150,000, and that's a good salary. So we're talking about, if you're making more than that, you're doing pretty good, and you already doing this kind of thing. Oh yeah, but they're talking about pulling people up, giving them a hand up instead of a handout. He is explicitly backing President Trump's design that teaches kids how finance can work for them, not against them. This is a powerful truth that so many children are not taught. It was not taught to me. I didn't know it. But at my age, I'm learning it. Better late than never. I'm on a totally different path. And as long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to work it. And if I go home to be with the Lord, it gets passed down to my son and my posterity and my grandchildren. I pray that I live to be old. My mother is 102 at the current time. And I want to live to be old, too. Her sister lived to be 103. If you're on my social media platform, you can go on my Facebook page and look under Reels, R-E-E-L-S, and look at the stuff my mama's saying. That girl is sharp. I just love her. So this gentleman in Connecticut, Mr. DeLeo, has praised the effort as a part toward financial independence and real capitalism education for the next generation. He just said this is a game changer. He's not alone. This is intended to support 25 million Trump accounts across the country, dramatically scaling the reach of the initiative. Where past administrations talked about equity while growing bureaucracy and having our taxpayer dollars go towards fraudulent scams and money laundering fronts where specific people, a select group of people got over on us like a fat rat. None of this right here, it hadn't been done, never been done. They talked about equity, but they lied, and they knew they were scamming us. They were growing the bureaucracy, bringing in illegal immigrants to sham us. This coalition of private capital and conservative policy is quietly building ownership for millions of American children. Guys, this blesses me beyond measure. The White House is using these early commitments as proof that business leaders are ready to invest in families instead of feeding Washington's spending habit. Now, here's the 50-state challenge. Private capital, not bigger bureaucracy. That's it. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent joined DeLeo, that billionaire in Connecticut, who's going to focus on Connecticut, at a White House event to launch what they call the 50-State Challenge, a nationwide campaign calling on business leaders to help fund Trump accounts in every state. In other words, we've got the basic $1,000 for the babies, the newborns, and then the Dales, they're doing the whole nation if they're 10 and under. This man, DeLeo, he's going to focus on Connecticut. Guys, this is a game changer. People say, well, they might get a text right over. Let them get one. The whole nation will be blessed. The children will be wealthy. And we will continue this perpetual pattern of prosperity and being a blessing to our nation and being able to send missionaries out all over the world. Guys, I just see God all in the middle of this. I do. A new fundraising website gives donors a direct on-ramp to support specific communities without running their money through layers of federal agencies. I love it, love it, love it. I would like to have my own foundation that's connected to this to empower these children, and there'll be all kind of things. I want to set up, my vision is to have it set up that if they don't have the $5,000 to invest in it, that my foundation provides it for them, but there's a caveat. There has to be parental involvement. There's certain criteria that have to be met. I want a copy of your report card. I want a copy and proof that you were involved in community building, volunteering, involvement at your church, or faith-based, pro-social based activity where you're contributing to the community. Guys, the number one factor that contributes to educational success of children is parental involvement in the educational process. I worked as a teacher and a school psychologist. I know those parents had to be involved. I brought those low income, so to speak, people living in projects. I had the social worker to go get them, and I taught these parents how to have a parent-teacher conference. They didn't show up before. They did when I became the school psychologist, because I had them up there showing them how to do it, how to have a successful parent-teacher conference where you're asking who, what, when, where, how, why. You set up goals. You're on the same page with the teacher, and y'all are communicating. Those kids excel. They were about to be placed. They wanted me to do the evaluation that would place them in a class for emotionally disturbed children. I said, listen, give me 6 weeks with this family, and we'll talk about them later in the school-based committee. Give me 6 weeks with them. Baby, we save money because they didn't go into class. Now, certain people need it. Certain kids need it. They need it. But some of them, they just didn't have parental involvement in the educational process. I digress, but not really. No, so it all ties in together. There is so much we can do. It's so much. I know what I'm talking about because I've executed these kinds of things. Wow, this is so good. I'm just really getting a download right there about connecting with the Trump accounts and this whole dynamic with these wealthy people and what they want to do, and in community efforts to connect the two is powerful. Pray for me. Pray for the nation. This is an answer to prayer. So a new fundraising website gives donors a direct ramp to support specific communities without running their money through layers of federal agencies. That structure reflects conservative priorities, lean government, transparent programs, and private sector leadership instead of yet another alphabet soup office in Washington. The Trump team is explicit that this program is not retroactive and not a blank check. Children born before 2025 can access separate tax advantaged vehicles. Yeah, you can. But the government seed is limited to babies born in the 2025-2028 window. That guardrail reins in cost and keeps the promise credible while still reaching millions of new families. This is brilliant. I love this leadership. Guys, this is a game changer. Never done in our nation before. You can sit on the sidelines and complain and bellyache, or you can get on top of this amazing opportunity. This leads us into our clinical perspective tonight, empowerment. Economic empowerment for children involves equipping them and their families with financial literacy, skills, and opportunities to build financial security, breaking cycles of poverty through education, job training, entrepreneurship, support, advocating for policies that create stable environments for development. I was not taught this type of thing. We were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. My great-grandmother was a slave. My daddy was a sharecropper. I grew up in Jim Crow. We didn't think this way. I'm just learning to think this way in my 60s. Ultimately, this fosters a process of enabling healthier lives, better education, and future independence. Guys, the independence is unreal, what we can do here. Key strategies include, listen, early financial education, savings and budgeting. Oh my God, turn the TV off and do this. I haven't looked at the news in 6 years. Vocational training, connecting youth to jobs, internships, mentoring programs, family-focused financial literacy, and creating supportive community structures like village savings and loan associations, where we corral things. Guys, it's so powerful what we can do with this. Let's consider some key approaches and strategies. Let's think, we're thinking out loud here. As the Trump accounts grow and education should be connected to teaching the children. Just not, well, we got that money over there. Boy, no. We're going to partner with a process that will be unprecedented. Teaching children managing money, but there's many money management basics. That's what I was trying to get out. I'm excited, can you tell? Teaching children money management basics, such as saving, spending, investing, blessing people. Oh yeah, part of that. I'm talking about the saving, spending, and investing part. And providing digital literacy to navigate modern economies is life-changing and powerful, guys. As the accounts grow, the Trump accounts grow, they would, and have them track it. Oh, God, this is so powerful. I see so much going on with this. These kids being totally turned around and seeing these numbers and watch it grow and having support groups and empowerment around this stuff. Guys, I'm telling you, they're going to have, when they get 18 and they can access this money for businesses, they're going to have lemonade stands already. We can go show up at their little businesses and they can take their money and put it in these accounts. Do you hear what I'm saying? As the accounts grow, they would happen. Oh, God, this is good. This is good. These accounts are going to grow, guys. It's going to grow. What would happen if there was a focus on skill development, such as giving them vocational training, market-driven employability skills, and entrepreneurship programs for adolescents that range between 12 and 24? Do you hear me? Oh my goodness. What would happen if we focus on family economic strengthening, supporting parents with money management, access to credit, and linking economic security with early childhood development programs? Not some cradle to grave nanny state. We're talking about making, developing powerhouses. Americans. Wow. What about focusing on youth participation and voice? involving young people in decision making, having their own little community set up, their own little group where they have a board and teaching them these types of principles, community mobilization and advocacy for their own economic futures. What would happen if we teach them how to break poverty cycles, empowering youth to secure decent jobs or start businesses, reducing reliance on child labor and delaying younger marriages where they set things up? They are just being set up for success. Wow, you got places that they do child labor, slavery, and they get married, children get married. Lord, my mind is just ticking. It is. My clinical mind is just going 100 miles an hour because I see so much that can be birthed out of this: wellness, wholeness, strategy, skills, tools, mental health, spiritual health, a powerful America. What about community-based solutions, forming village savings and loan associations to provide access to financial services in underserved areas? Why does any of this matter? It sets our posterity up for stability and health. Economically secure families provide stable foundations for healthy child development, reducing stress from hunger, housing instability, and poor health. What about future opportunities, guys? These efforts equip children with the confidence and skills to avoid financial pitfalls, build wealth, and make informed life decisions. Guys, I made some bad decisions. When I was married. He's in heaven now. He don't have to worry about it. He made bad decisions. He didn't know how to handle money. He didn't know how to manage it. I had a better grasp, but a lot of men, they just don't know. So we would have discussions around, wait a minute, you said we're going to do what? And so there were moments to grow, moments to embrace, to learn. But if you can't do what you don't know, and you can't teach what you can't teach what you don't know. You can't give what you don't have, but you can learn it. What about breaking intergenerational poverty? He grew up in poverty. I grew up in poverty. We came to the table. We didn't know jack squat. But if we can break intergenerational poverty, our great-grandparents were slaves. Wow. Listen, guys, when we break that intergenerational poverty, and it empowers children to become economically independent adults, preventing poverty from passing to the next generation. Now, let's look at some examples in action. Let's look at some examples here. They got something called World Vision. It uses micro loans and training for entrepreneurs with profits cycle back into the community for kids' education and health. Whoa. There's this deal with that. My understanding is that it runs programs in developing countries for adolescents 12 to 24 with job linkages, financial literacy, and business support. Guys, that can be a model to just expand this thing. My goodness. Then there's something called International Labor Organization. They train families in entrepreneurship, and they use art and the media to teach children about the dangers of child labor. Guys, this is life-changing stuff. We can formulate new organizations. We can get involved in the success of our nation. What have we looked at tonight? I'm excited. Trump accounts and our financial and our clinical perspective is empowerment, which is financial. Guys, we were all over the place, but we got a chance to turn this train around. The gravy train's over, but there's a different train, and I call it the Trump train. And you know what? We can call it my train. Put the Pond's train. Put your name in it. Because we have a chance to write our own ticket for success. We can sit on the sidelines and belly and tell, well, we got our little own thing over here, and our sorority's doing that, and our fraternity's doing it. Y'all better wake up. Y'all gonna leave the money on the table? Are you men? Are you gonna have something in your church connected with it where you just, even if you don't want to have anything to do with it, pastors, you can avail the information. You can share this podcast with the men in your church that do. Guys, we're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there, and I'm going to cry loud and spare nothing. And you all spineless people that want to talk about, well, I ain't going to get nothing. I'm not going to have nothing to do with it because it's connected with Trump. You sound like a fool. You sound like a fool. If you're going to let children miss an opportunity where you got billionaires that want to invest in children that are 10 and under, it's a crying shame. And you will stand before God and give an account for how you could have changed children's lives, but you were too proud and too caught up in rhetoric and lies and deception and manipulation than to empower these babies with doing something different. Guys, listen, we're going to keep going somewhere because it's expecting us when we get there. Listen, I'm fired up about this because I see what's going on. It's breaking poverty cycles. I grew up in poverty. My great-grandmother was a slave. They couldn't do certain things, but it's a new day in America, and we're going to keep going from destruction to dignity. We're on a destructive path, but we're in a different flow now. We're one nation under God. We're indivisible. The enemy's tried his best to divide us, but he's a liar. He's the father of lies, and the truth has never been in him. If he's talking, he's lying. That's our spiritual truth. Yeah, he's the father of lies. The truth has never been in him. But we embrace the truth. I am going to keep, and truth is knowing facts. It's not just knowing scripture. You can take the scripture and combine it with everyday life functioning, such as this. Listen, guys, I'll see you next week. I'm fired up, and for a reason. I'm coming for you men. Share this with men. I know God has a plan for this, for our nation, and it's great. I will see you. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication,